April 18, 1988. In 8 hours of combat, Iran lost half its operational navy. 2 oil platforms destroyed, 3 warships sunk or crippled, dozens of sailors dead. The United States Navy had just delivered the most decisive naval engagement since World War II, and it started because Iran made one critical mistake. They mined an American warship. To understand how we got there, you need to know what the Persian Gulf looked like in 1987. The Iran-Iraq War had been grinding on for 7 brutal years. Saddam Hussein's Iraq, unable to defeat Iran on land, opened a new front by attacking Iranian oil tankers. Iran retaliated, but they didn't just hit Iraqi ships. They targeted any vessel suspected of helping Iraq, turning the entire Gulf into a war zone. Kuwait watched its tankers explode and asked for help. President Reagan wasn't about to let the Soviets expand influence in the Middle East. In July 1987, the U.S. launched Operation Earnest Will, reflagging Kuwaiti tankers as American vessels and escorting them through the Gulf with U.S. Navy warships. Then came May 17, 1987. The guided missile frigate USS Stark was on routine patrol when an Iraqi Mirage jet fired 2 Exocet missiles. The first punched through the hull, its rocket fuel igniting an inferno at 3,500 degrees Fahrenheit. The second exploded, tearing a massive hole in the ship's side. 37 American sailors died. 21 were wounded. The U.S. accepted Iraq's claim it was an accident, but American resolve hardened. The Middle East force expanded from 7 ships to over 30. The U.S. Navy was now a major player in the Persian Gulf. Iran knew it couldn't match the U.S. Navy ship for ship, so they turned to naval mines cheap, effective, devastating. On July 22, 1987, the first U.S. convoy headed north. The massive tanker Bridgerton struck a mine, blowing a 15-foot hole in her hull. The warships repositioned behind the damaged tanker using the civilian ship as an improvised minesweeper. The U.S. needed proof. They got it in September when an American aircraft spotted the Iranian vessel Iran Ajr throwing mines into the water at night. U.S. helicopters attacked with miniguns and rockets. Navy SEALs boarded the next morning and found 9 Iranian naval mines, serial numbers intact. In October, Iran fired a Silkworm missile at the U.S.-flagged tanker Sea Isle City, blinding the captain and wounding 18 crew. The U.S. destroyed an Iranian oil platform in response during Operation Nimble Archer. The pattern was clear. Iran attacks, America retaliates, Iran backs off temporarily, then tries again. This cycle was about to end violently. April 14, 1988. The guided missile frigate USS Samuel B. Roberts was navigating the central Persian Gulf when a massive explosion lifted the ship's stern 10 to 12 feet into the air. An Iranian mine detonated beneath the hull. The blast tore a 15-foot hole through the bottom and broke the ship's keel. Water flooded the engine rooms. Fires raged. 10 sailors were severely injured, 4 with serious burns. The Samuel B. Roberts should have sunk, but the crew held their ship together with steel cables. They kept power running. They maintained combat systems ready. Not a single sailor died. Navy divers recovered more mines. The serial numbers matched those from the Iran Ajr. Iran had been caught red-handed. This time, there would be consequences. President Reagan convened his defense team at Camp David. Instead of sinking warships, they'd destroy 2 Iranian oil platforms converted into military surveillance posts, Sasan and Shiri. But Reagan added one critical caveat. If Iranian forces chose to fight, American forces were authorized to sink them. 3 surface action groups would attack simultaneously on April 18th. The carrier USS Enterprise would provide air support from 200 miles away. At exactly 8 a.m., Surface Action Group Bravo approached the Sasan platform. The destroyers USS Merrill and USS Linda McCormick radioed warnings in English and Farsi. Everyone had 20 minutes to evacuate. Then a lone Iranian soldier opened fire with an anti-aircraft gun. One 5-inch shell from a U.S. destroyer ended his defiance. American warships unleashed hundreds of rounds. Navy SEALs boarded, planted charges, and the platform disappeared in a massive explosion. Meanwhile, Surface Action Group Charlie demolished the Siri platform in the southern Gulf. The Iranian patrol boat Joshan charged at American forces and launched a Harpoon missile. USS Wainwright and USS Simpson responded with Standard and Harpoon missiles. The Joshan was obliterated, the first Iranian warship to fall. At 12:50 p.m., Iranian speedboats swarmed from Abu Musa Island, attacking targets in the Saudi Mubarak oil field with gunfire and rockets. A 6E intruder aircraft from USS Enterprise dropped Rockeye cluster bombs. One speedboat sank immediately. Several others caught fire and fled. The Iranian frigate Sahand entered the battle and opened fire on American ships. The destroyer USS Joseph Strauss fired 3 Harpoon missiles. A-6 intruders followed with rocket-propelled bombs, laser-guided bombs, and conventional 1,000-pound bombs. The Sahand erupted in flames. The largest warship sunk by the U.S. Navy since World War II went to the bottom. The Iranian frigate Sabalan fired a missile at an A-6 intruder. The pilot dodged and dropped a 500-pound bomb down the ship's exhaust stack. The Sabalan went dead in the water. U.S. officials in Washington ordered a de-escalatory posture, giving Iran a way out. Iranian tugs towed the crippled frigate back to port. As the sun set, Operation Praying Mantis was over. 2 oil platforms destroyed. The frigate Sahand sunk. The patrol boat Joshan destroyed. At least 3 speedboats sunk or damaged. The frigate Sabalan crippled. American casualties. 2 Marines killed in a helicopter crash from mechanical failure. No combat deaths, no ships damaged. In 8 hours, Iran lost half its operational navy. 1 month later, Tehran sued for peace with Iraq, ending the 8-year war. Declassified CIA reports later revealed Iran believed Operation Praying Mantis was coordinated with an Iraqi offensive facing a 2-front war. Iran capitulated. Fast forward to 2025. The U.S. Navy operates 295 battle force ships, more tonnage than the next several navies combined. 11 nuclear supercarriers form the core. The newest, USS Gerald R. Ford, launches aircraft faster than any carrier in history. Each carries over 50 aircraft and never needs refueling. 75 Arleigh Burke destroyers carry the Aegis combat system, tracking over 100 targets simultaneously. They're armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles hitting targets over 1,000 miles away. 66 submarines patrol beneath the waves. 14 Ohio-class boats carry nuclear missiles. 4 more Ohios carry 154 Tomahawk missiles each. Virginia and Los Angeles-class attack submarines hunt enemy vessels. The Air Wing includes 2,504 aircraft, F/A-18EF Super Hornets, F-35C stealth fighters, and EA-18G electronic warfare jets. The 5th Fleet operates from Bahrain with 9,000 personnel managing 2.5 million square miles. The Navy's annual budget, over $240 billion, dwarfs Iran's entire defense budget of $6 to $7 billion. Iran learned from 1988 that they can't win conventional warfare, so they stopped trying. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy specializes in asymmetric warfare in confined Gulf waters. Their submarine force includes 3 Russian Kilo-class diesel subs and 22 Ghadir-class mini-submarines designed for shallow waters, perfect for laying mines and surprise attacks. In February 2025, Iran received over 50 new fast attack craft capable of 65 to 90 knots. U.S. destroyers max out at 30 knots. Iranian speedboats can run circles around American warships using swarm tactics, dozens attacking simultaneously. But Iran's most dangerous weapon is naval mines. Intelligence estimates 5,000 to 6,000 mines stockpiled. Since 1950, naval mines caused 77% of U.S. Navy ship casualties. Simple contact mines cost just $1,500 each. Anti-ship missiles include College Far's ballistic missiles, 300-kilometer range, Hormuz 1 and Hormuz 2 missiles, 300-kilometer, C-802 Noor cruise missiles, 120-kilometer. Shore-based sites cover the entire Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is only 21 miles wide, with 2 shipping lanes barely 2 miles wide each. Ships must pass through Iranian territorial waters. Every day, 17 million barrels of oil pass through 35% of all seaborne petroleum trade. If the strait closes, global oil prices skyrocket. Iran can't permanently close it without destroying their own exports, but they can disrupt shipping with mines, missiles, swarm boats, submarines, and drones. During the 1984 to 1988 tanker war, 544 attacks occurred. Traffic dropped 25% initially but recovered. The lesson: with sustained commitment, as Operation Praying Mantis proved, the strait stays open, but it requires resources and resolve. In conventional warfare, there's no contest. The U.S. Navy's 11 carriers, 75 destroyers, 66 submarines, and overwhelming technology would crush Iran's navy within days, just as in 1988. But the real question is, at what cost? Iran specializes in disruption, with 5,000 mines, swarm boats hitting 90 knots, and missiles covering the Strait of Hormuz. They make conflict expensive. Every merchant ship attacked raises insurance rates. Every mine requires specialized clearing. Every cheap Iranian drone costs millions in U.S. defensive missiles. The Navy has expended 120 SM-2 and 80 SM-6 missiles, defending against Houthi attacks since 2023 at roughly $4 million per SM-6. Operation Praying Mantis proved the U.S. Navy's conventional dominance is absolute. Iran learned that lesson in 8 hours of devastating combat that cost them half their fleet. But the war that followed taught a different lesson. Asymmetric warfare in confined waters can make even overwhelming superiority brutally costly. The U.S. dominates the open ocean. Iran specializes in making the 21-mile-wide Strait of Hormuz, where 17 million barrels of oil and global economic stability pass daily, a potential nightmare for any navy. The balance holds for now, but in these dangerous waters where 1988's history meets 2025's reality, one miscalculation could change everything.